proceed that, at least for now, I'm told. Welcome to the Capital Investment Committee. Today is Saturday, May 16th, approximately 3:35 in the afternoon. And we're going to proceed with this bill. Just a couple of reminders as we move into this. We've all done this before to some extent. You have to have your video to be counted in a quorum. I think we've done that. Please remain on mute unless speaking. Raise your hand, use the raise hand feature on Zoom, and I will call on you. And then finally, testifiers should have received you should have received an email earlier regarding the agenda and the testifiers. So with that, in order to proceed, since I will be testifying on this bill today, Senator Jasinski, being a wise Zoom operator, is going to be our chair today from the standpoint of operating the meeting. So he will be the Mr. Chair, and I'm going to proceed to the witness table, if you will, and we will commence this hearing. So, Senator Jasinski, if you want to just take over, we'll proceed.
Thank you, Senator Sensen. I believe you have a DE amendment.
I do. I have the A3 amendment to Senate File 3463, which is a Safe Routes to Schools bill.
Senator Sensen offers the A3 amendment. Any discussion on the A3 amendment? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye and raise your hand. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Aye, for or against? Everybody aye? Okay. Those opposed? Motion carries. Senator Senjum, to your amendment.
Nelson votes aye. Sorry, just had a hard time getting there.
And Mr. Chairman, we're assuming this is an author's amendment, so we gave you the courtesy of voting for it.
Okay. Well, that's a good start, Senator Pappas. Thank you so much. Madam, Mr. Chair, members, Senate File 4364 is the Capital Investment Committee bill going forward today. It's
3463.
3463. All right. 3463 is a bill created out of looking at, if you will, and receiving, as we all have, over 500 projects this year, over $5 billion with their requests, record numbers, culmination of 4 tours, many office visits, of course, to my office and more than likely your office with respect to good projects which are out there. The whole process, I think we all recognize this year, is not normal from the standpoint of the COVID crisis and how that has sort of intercepted the normal flow with respect to how we operate. But nonetheless, we have to work with what we have, and we've sort of done our best to try to put this bill together and be a reflection of the Minnesota Senate, and we'll see as it goes forward. So with that, let me just describe 3463. It's a $1.4 billion bill, meaning all funds. 998 million of that are general obligation bonds. 400 million of that is trunk highway bonds. With respect to how it breaks out, higher education is 170 million, accounting for about 17% of the bill. Natural resources, 85 million, accounting for half of that, of course, 8.5% of the bill. It's very, very heavy on transportation. You've probably already seen that $288 million of GO bonds for transportation, additional 400 for trunk highway bonds. The GO is 29% of the budget. Transportation, all funds, the bill is 49% transportation. With respect to deed, $105 million, 10% of the bill, so to speak. Again, another big area is Public Facilities Authority. Here we got $203 million, 20% of the bill. It's got some policy provisions relating to township roads, to fixing up, if you will, a situation with respect to the Minnesota African American Museum and some issues there that arose out of working forward on a bonding bill of a couple of years ago that have to do with the SHPO and and historic tax credits and so on. So we've taken care of that for Senator Cohen. It's got a situation that in Pipestone, Minnesota, on a dental clinic, and a deferral of some energy policy, which we have out there in a relatively small building. And then we've got some transportation policy with respect to the process, selection process for transportation process going forward. Casey Mom and Jeremy or Stephanie James are going to kind of carry us through with respect to going over the bill more specifically. But that's the essence of the bill. And why don't we, Mr. Chair, proceed with Mr. James and pardon me, Casey Mom and Stephanie James. We work so close with them; they're almost partners in our lives, it seems like. And so, and by the way, thank you so much to each one of those for all they've done. So,
You start, and then Ms. James, or vice versa. Who wants to go first?
Mr. Chair, I'll go first. I'll be walking through the spreadsheet.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Wong. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Chair and members, if you have the spreadsheet in front of you, I will go through it and hit the high points. But just to orient you to it, it summarizes the appropriations and the fiscal implications of the bill. It's organized to roughly mimic the order of the bill by section. As you're going through, the purposes are shown with the amounts appropriated to them. And that's about all there is to it. So if you're starting from the top, the appropriation for the University of Minnesota is 85 million. 55.8 million of that is for HEAPR on line 2, and 29.2 million is for the Child Development Building at the Twin Cities campus. On line 6 is the $85 million appropriation for Minnesota State HEAPR. Line 8 is a 1.5 million asset preservation appropriation for the Minnesota State Academies. 85.46 million is appropriated to the DNR. 19 million of that is for asset preservation. 18 million is for flood hazard mitigation. 19 million is for dam safety repair and removal. 5 million is for improving accessibility at state parks and recreation areas. And 500,000 is for the Forest for the Future program. The next few lines are some trails and state parks. 1 million is for the Blazing Star Trail, 1 million for the Camp Ripley Veteran State Trail, 2.5 million for the Gitche Gumee State Trail, 3 million for the Heartland State Trail, and 2.8 million for connection between Itasca State Park and the Heartland Trail. And there's 5.8 million for the Lake Vermilion Sudan Underground Mine State Park. The remaining appropriations are grants to local governments. There's 260,000 to the city of Lakeville for Orchard Lake improvements, 4 million to the city of Mankato for a riverbank stabilization project, 600,000 to the Scott County to do some flood hazard mitigation work on McMahon Lake, 1 million for the St. Louis County Voyagers ATV Trail, and 2 million for the Mississippi Riverfront Trail in Winona.
I'm trying to do it right now and I'm like, sorry.
You got a hot mic? Go ahead, continue, Mr. Mom, sorry.
Nope, no problem. Thank you, Mr. Chair. The PCA appropriations are 14 million. There are 2 appropriations of 7 million each to the Clay County Transfer Station and for the Dakota Scott County Hazardous Waste Facility. Board of Water and Soil Resources has an $18 million appropriation for local government roads wetland replacement, and 1 million for the Reinvest in Minnesota program. 20 million is appropriated to the Department of Agriculture for the joint laboratory with the Department of Health. 1.5 million is appropriated to the Minnesota Zoo for asset preservation. 4 million is appropriated for the capital asset preservation and replacement account to the Department of Administration, and 250,000 is for a memorial honoring the Mayo brothers family on the state capitol grounds. On line 40 is the 800,000 appropriation for the National Sports Center's asset preservation. And 2.5 million is for an upgrade to a maintenance facility there. On lines 43 through 45 are appropriations for the armories, some of the armories around the state. 1.1 million for Rosemount, 3 million for Marshall, and 2 million for Fergus Falls. And on line 46 is a $13 million appropriation for a military museum at Camp Ripley. On the next page, there's a $7.39 million appropriation to the city of for a grant to the city of Virginia for a public safety facility. On line 49 begins the transportation section of the bill. It totals $688.414 million. On line 50 and 51 is 25 million for the local bridge replacement program and 80 million for the local road improvement program. Additional programs are 1 million for the railroad warning devices replacement, 2 million for safe routes to school, 3 million for the rail service improvement program, 3 million for the port development assistance program, and 8 million for the township road improvement program. On line 57 is 110 million appropriation for of trunk highway bonds for state road construction. And below that are several identified projects that appropriate trunk highway fund bonds. Akeley Township project near there for a bridge is 2.4 million, 2.172 for Albert Lee flood mitigation work. 60 million is for widening Interstate 94 between Albertville and Monticello. 10 million is for a rail grade separation in Anoka, and 1.5 million is for a roundabout in Chanhassen. The Chisago County project is a mixture of trunk highway bonds and general obligation bonds. On line 66 is 12.55 appropriation for realignment of Trunk Highway 73 near Cromwell. 4.5 million for the Mission Creek Bridge in Duluth. On line 68 through 70 is another project that has both trunk highway bonds and general obligation bonds, and that is the Henderson reconstruction project to raise it up out of the floodplain. On line 71 is a $45 million appropriation for Trunk Highway 371. 4.5 million for Trunk Highway 55 near Medina. 38 million for US 212 between Norwood, Young America, and Cologne. Olmsted County has a Highway 14, County Road 104 interchange that has a mixture of trunk highway bonds and general obligation bonds. 3 million for an interchange in Pope County, and $50 million for widening Trunk Highway 10 near Wadena. On line 80 is a grant to the city of Rochester for improvements at the airport. And the remaining grants are general obligation debt, mostly 1.5 million for a grade separation in Anoka, 8.5 for some interchanges in Anoka County, 15 million for Highway 610 improvements in Maple Grove. 13 million is for the Minnesota Rail Valley Regional Authority improvements. 795,000 is for a grant to Oak Park Heights to realign 60th Street. 10.5 million is for a rail grade separation in Red Wing. 1.5 million is for a study to redesign the interchange of Interstate 35 and County Road J in Ramsey County. 2.2 million is for a pedestrian overpass in the city of Rogers. The city of Sartell has a $4.5 million grant for road improvements. The 3rd Street Kellogg Bridge in St. Paul has a $50 million appropriation on line 90. A little over 5 million is for Dakota Avenue in Scott County. $15 million is for improvements on County State Aid Highway 6 in Sibley County. And $6.45 million is for improvements to the Thief River Falls Airport. And lastly, it's an interchange along Highway 36 and Manning Avenue in Washington County. The next page begins with appropriations to the Metropolitan Council. $5 million is for the I&I grant program. $4 million is for improvements to regional parks and trails. And $2.5 million is for a grant to Carver County for improvements at the Lake Waconia Regional Park. The Human Services section has an $8 million appropriation for asset preservation to the department, $1.75 million for a behavioral health facility, $11 million for regional mental health crisis center grants, and a $1.365 million grant to St. Louis County for a behavioral health crisis facility. The Veterans Affairs section has $9 million to the Department of Veterans Affairs for asset preservation, a $100,000 appropriation for a greenhouse at the Fergus Falls Veterans Home, and a grant to the Martin County for a Veterans Memorial of $400,000. The Department of Corrections has a $15 million asset preservation appropriation. $2.7 million is appropriated for the St. Cloud Correctional Facility fence. And $1.67 million is a grant to the Prairie Lake Youth Joint Powers Board in, I believe it's in Candy, Ojai County, for a facility there that works with youth. The Department of Employment and Economic Development section has a $12 million appropriation for the Greater Minnesota BDPI program, $1.5 million for the Transportation Economic Development Infrastructure Program, and the remaining appropriations here are for grants to local governments, $5.6 million for the City of Alexandria's Runestone Center, $4.18 million for public infrastructure in the City of Annandale, roughly $24 million for business park public infrastructure in the City of Becker, $3.1 million for a park in the City of Champlin, $7.7 for phase 3 of the Chatfield Center for the Arts. It's an agricultural facility redevelopment in Crookston with $895,000. The North Home Avenue Bridge in the City of Deep Haven, $750,000. $5 million is for the Duluth Seawall development. Roughly $5.5 million is for the IRA Civic Center in Grand Rapids. $1 million for the Windows to the World Mind View in the City of Hibbing. $2.67 for improvements to the Bluffland State Trail in Lake City. $6 million is for the Central City Storm Tunnel project in Minneapolis. $250,000 is for a dental facility in Pipestone County. $5 million is for the Plymouth Creek Center. $12 million is for the MAC project in St. Cloud. It's an athletics complex. $2 million is for the St. Paul Minnesota Museum of American Art. $750,000 is for improvements at the Steele County Fairgrounds. And $4 million is to various communities surrounding White Bear Lake for completing the Lake Links Trail. And $1 million is for dental center in Wright County. The next page begins with the Public Facilities Authority section. I do want to call out what is hopefully the only typo in the spreadsheet. That's on line 36. The correct total should be 201 million, but all of the appropriations below that are accurate. It was just a computational error. 17.8 is for state match. 51.23 is for point source implementation grants, and roughly $64 million is for the water infrastructure funding program, and that's split with 60% of the appropriation going for clean water projects, 40% going for drinking water projects. The rest of the appropriations here are grants to municipalities for their various water infrastructure projects. 2.5 is for the City of Albertville. Roughly $8 million is for the City of Bemidji. $2 million for the City of Buell. 1.2 for the City of Floodwood. $3 million for the city of Foley, combined $1.9 million to the city of Mahnomen, the $24 million for the city of Orinoco, $5.75 million for the Red Rock Rural Water System, $1.7 million for the city of South Haven, $9 million for Twin Lakes Township, and roughly $8 million for the city of Vernon Center, and $858,000 for the city of Waldorf. On line 157 is the $2 million appropriation to the MHFA for public housing rehabilitation. On line 159 is $1.5 million for asset preservation for the Minnesota Historical Society. $500,000 is for county and local historic preservation grants. And on line 162 and 163 are appropriations for the bond sale expenses to Minnesota Management and Budget to for the costs incurred to issue the debt authorized in this act. There are two cancellations in the bill. The first line is simply canceling the amounts that appeared on the cancellation report that was produced on January 1st of this year. Those are appropriations that would cancel anyway on July 1st, but we're proactively doing so here, and that's used as an offset to additional new bond authorizations in the bill. And a $5 million cancellation is for the River Center parking ramp in the city of St. Paul that was initially authorized in the 2018 bonding bill. On lines 168 through, 167 through 171 are the total appropriations in the bill. Senator Senjum already identified these, but I'll run through them again. Roughly 1.4 billion total appropriations. The trunk highway portion is about 400 million, and the general fund supported debt is $998.674 million. The final table just displays the debt service costs that are required to service the debt authorized in the bill. The amounts shown here are incremental amounts above what was assumed in the February forecast. So the February forecast assumed that the legislature would enact a $755 million general obligation bond bill. And so the amounts here are just the debt service for the amount above that 755 million. That, Mr. Chair, is the end of the spreadsheet.
Thank you, Mr. Mum, and we'll go right into Ms. James, I believe.
Mr. Chair and members, I will begin with Article 2, the policy provisions. Section 1 on page 47 is from Senator Weber's bill, Senate File 1574. This allows the Commissioner of Administration to waive the sustainable building design guidelines for construction of state-owned buildings where the costs of compliance exceed 5% of the total construction costs. Section 2 is Senator Jasinski's bill, Senate File 4320. This establishes a township road improvement grant program, and this is modeled after the local road improvement program. It sets up accounts. It provides for the commissioner to establish an advisory commission, requires the commissioner to establish procedures to apply and criteria for evaluating the submissions, and also lists criteria that must be considered in developing the criteria, and then allows for an administrative cost of 0.25% of the amount in the accounts. Then sections 3 through 10 make modifications to appropriations in earlier years, not to the amounts, but to the descriptions in some manner. And Senator Senjum touched on a few of these. I'll go through them pretty quickly here. One is for Sartell, for an appropriation that was first enacted in 2014 and amended in 2017. The second is in the local road improvement fund grants from the 2017 bonding bill amended in 2018 for a grant to Anoka County to add a road. to the permitted uses of the money. Section 5 on page 52, line 31, amends a 2017 appropriation for Red Wing to allow more uses of the money, to allow it to be used for right-of-way acquisition. Section 6 on page 54, starting at line 1, is affixed to the 2018 appropriation to the Minnesota Museum of American Art. It doesn't change the appropriation, but it extends it to December 31st, 2024. Section 7 on page 55, line 12, deals with the Hennepin County Railroad's crossing safety appropriation from 2018. It changes some of the identified railroad crossings that can be improved with the appropriation. Section 8, this is one of the ones that Senator Senja mentioned, is for the Pipestone Dental Facility. It exempts the project from the sustainability design guidelines. That's on page 56 at line 1. Section 9 is on page 56 at line 11. And it's a repeat of the St. Paul, the Minnesota Museum of American Art issue. And then section 10 on page 57 is for the National Legal Center. This extends their appropriation to June 30th, 2024. Section 11, which is on page 57, beginning at line 14, and on and then section 12 at 60 on page 61 at line 3, amend previous biennial transportation budget appropriations. One increases it, one decreases it. It's a technical fix, as I understand it. Section 13 on page 62, line 15, establishes a transportation project selection process for the Commissioner of Transportation to adopt policies regarding transportation project selection and how to prioritize and select capital projects and award grants. This requires that the Commissioner consult with specified entities in developing these policies, and requires the Commissioner to publish the policy in specified ways, and establishes requirements that have to be part of the selection processes, and then requires a report to the legislature. And that is the end of the Article 2.
Thank you, Ms. James. Any questions on what we've done so far? Senator Senjum.
I just want to offer a couple of comments. Maybe I should have offered them to begin with. We were given a 998 target on, I believe, Tuesday or Wednesday of this past week. And so that is the reason for the 998, that it came out of, I would say, an agreement between the Speaker of the House and Majority Leader. The other thing noted to note is that the housing portion of this particular bill is obviously very, very light. That housing is being worked on by Representative Hausman and Senator Weber and Senator Westrom, Senator Graham, perhaps others in the House, I'm not sure, but that's outside of the existing bonding bill at this point. So that is the reason why the money within the housing section is minimal.
Okay, Senator Pappas.
Senator Senjum? Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm supposed to use the
Senator Pappas is next.
okay, sorry about that. Go ahead.
I'll wait for Senator Champion.
A couple quick questions. Senator Senjum, are you referring to the fact that I think that you had a bill for $500 million for housing, and we only see $2 million in the bill itself? Is that what you're referring to as light?
Mr. Chair and Senator, yes, that is being worked on outside of the bonding bill this year. Somewhat unusual, but that is the case. And again, Representative Hausman and the housing people within the Senate are working on that. And we would expect at some point it would either run independently or be weaved into this bill with respect to the consensus bill between the House and the Senate at some point. But it is being run separately.
I'm sorry. And so if I could follow up, I noticed that on line 128 that I see something for the city of Minneapolis only in the amount of $6 million. Is there any other line item in this bonding bill for the city of Minneapolis?
Senator Senjum.
Mr. Mr. Chair and Senator Champion, I believe there's the storm tunnel in here.
Yeah, that's it. That's line 128.
I'm sorry.
If my memory serves me correctly.
Let me dwell on that for a moment. It's difficult to read this and
Okay.
kind of keep up with the hearing at the same time.
I got it. And my last question is, at least for right now, are we going to potentially have another hearing, or when should we put forth amendments or any of those things? Because I know that this is a start, and I thank you for the start, but I'm certain that you will agree with me that even when we do our very best, that there are things that we sort of overlook or miss that we could potentially include.
Sure. Amendments would be accepted as we go along in this hearing today, or certainly on the floor, more than likely tomorrow.
And when you say grants, because I heard a number of things that were said around grants. So do we translate grants for cash? Is that the terms that we're looking for? Or is there any cash in this bonding bill? Maybe I should ask that way.
Mr. Chair and Senator Champion, there is no cash in this bonding bill. So yes, there's no cash.
Okay, thank you, Senator Senjum.
Sure.
Senator Pappas, you're next.
Thank you, Senator Senjum and members. Senator Senjum, you started out making comments about how because of COVID, this hasn't been a very normal process. Well, I would maintain that we haven't had what someone who's been around as long as you and I might call a normal process in many, many years when it comes to the bonding bill. So here we go again with the bonding bill, the last weekend of session. The bill is released at 11:30 a.m. till between then and 3:30. We're supposed to digest this bonding bill, be able to ask questions from our constituents and the stakeholders, and come up with amendments. Only released to the public, not even released to the committee ahead of time so that we could do some preparation. Not only is that what I would call a normal process, it's not a very open or transparent process. Mr. Chairman, there's a couple things in which I wanted to applaud you for. Unfortunately, not many. One is the PFA, the wastewater treatment. I think that's important to all the communities throughout our state, as Senator Swedzinski said on the floor yesterday. And with a heavy emphasis on trunk highway funds and roads and bridges, I will thank you for the $50 million for the 3rd Street Kellogg Bridge, which we've been trying to get for about 3 or 4 years now. But in every other case, I feel like you've neglected or slighted this group of people. Higher education. And I can go into detail later, but higher education. I'm just so deeply disappointed in the amount you've put in for higher education. The metro area, transit and regional parks, and Democratic districts, I just don't see very much there. The governor and our state agencies, hardly anything for them. And you and I have talked before about our responsibility to take care of the state agencies, that should be our highest priority, including the zoo, which you've hardly put any money in for. Hazardous waste and Superfund sites, certainly as important as wastewater treatment. And there's hardly anything there. This is unlike the governor's bill, the Senate DFL bill, and the House bill, which are all balanced bills. This bill does not represent one Minnesota. This is probably the most political Senate bill that I've ever seen in my 30+ years I've been in the legislature. And I'm deeply, deeply, deeply disappointed.
Next, I believe our testifier is Mr. Franz, Commissioner of MMB. Myron?
Where's my mute button?
Can you hear me okay?
We can, Myron. Thank you. Or Mr. Franz, sorry.
Well, that's okay. I get called a lot of things. Myron's just fine. I just wanted to talk a little bit too about, I understand the target that you mentioned, Chair Senjum, and I understand that this was a target, but I just want to take a little bit of time to talk about what a target like this, how it doesn't work. It fails in so many ways. And we're just really disappointed that this is where we're starting from. at this point, the next to last day of session. The governor visited over 30 different projects on his local projects and jobs plan, and never got a hearing on that plan. I think part of what I wanted to mention was that this, I know you're working on the housing in a different bill, and that's great. We need to work on that. But the asset preservation is way underfunded. The Department of Corrections is way underfunded. There's nothing in there for the State Emergency Operations Center. And if there's anything that I've learned during this crisis, is we need a much more robust emergency operations center outside the downtown St. Paul in a secure location that can really address the needs of a pandemic like we're experiencing now. There's just an amazingly small share of bonding bill going to HEAPR and higher education, as Senator Pappas said. When you look at the numbers, you see we had $224 million in the governor's bill for the University of Minnesota, and about the same amount for Minnesota State, with some money in there for user financing. But your provision here has $85 million going to both institutions. This is so inadequate, given the needs of those institutions. The Minnesota State Academies. I don't know how many of you have all been there. I've been there on several occasions, and their need for a security corridor in that setting is so important and so critical now. I don't know how to tell them that that's not in the bill. The natural resources, we had $263 million in the governor's bonding bill, and we have about $85 million in this bill. The Pollution Control Agency, we had about $94 million. Pollution Control Agency projects, and here we have about $14 million. The Bowser area, where we had $50 million for water and soil resources, and there's $19 million here, and there's no money for the government roads wetland replacement program, which is absolutely critical. They have to have that money now in general fund dollars in order to be able to do local road constructions, because they have to have the wetland replacement money this summer. This is a must do for this summer even. So the zoo is another one that was completely ignored.
Mr. Chair, can I just interrupt? There is $18 million there. And I'm not going to blame the commissioner for maybe missing it. There is $18 million for that in the bill.
I'm sorry, you're right. I was on the next line down. I like to complain about things that I should really complain about. I'm sorry. Thank you.
I didn't want to interrupt you either, but I didn't know a good.
No. That's good. Thank you very much. And the public safety areas, I mentioned the State Emergency Operations Center, transportation. I just want to say something about the transportation, since I'm not an expert on that, but the earmarks is continually a difficult issue as we talk about. And it really, as you know, it circumvents the selection process. And one of the things that MnDOT recently did was they implemented a new projection selection policy, a project selection policy. And these earmarked projects that we see on this list, many of them are not even ready to begin construction. So the earmarked appropriations don't even sometimes cover the entire cost of the appropriation. So we're taking really valuable appropriation dollars here, and we're going to really delay their implementation of these projects. And the other thing is, Ms. James described in Article 2, the project selection process language. We don't think that's ready to go yet. We had an agreement to talk about that this summer, really make sure the stakeholders are involved. And it doesn't really clarify how the MnDOT's current project prioritization policy relates to this language. So we're creating some administrative difficulties that I'm concerned about there. The Metropolitan Council is something where we had $55 million alone for bus transit, and there's nothing here for the bus transportation or anything for transit. Human Services was an area where we had 68 million, and here there's only 22 million. Even Veterans Affairs is less. There's less asset preservation and campus security issues that we had. Corrections, though, I just have to go back to corrections. I now see it on my list where we had 66 million, and there's only 19 million here. There are some facilities, as we all know, the facilities are in dire need of taking care of us. And, God knows what's going to happen now with the new requirements we're going to have with the COVID-19 situation and changing some of those issues. So just something we cannot ignore for very much longer. I could go on and on. The Public Facilities Authority, I think Senator Pappas was right. That was where we put some money, but once again, there were a lot of earmarks even in that. I mean, that Public Facilities Authority runs a really good program for their grant and funding programs, where you go through the process, you make an application, you get on a list. And when we put down the earmarks, we really get away from, once again, a really good statewide program. So I guess I would just want to summarize and say that I think that we really we're missing an opportunity. I know you had a low target. It's not your fault, but I believe, I just want to point out that a bonding bill of this size is not going to get the job done. And if we're going to really provide opportunities and jobs for the next 3 to 4 years, we know how long this process takes, that we really need to do that now. And I will say also, in terms of people concerned about, can we afford a $2 billion bonding bill as opposed to a $1 billion bonding bill? I think the answer is yes. Obviously, we're in a difficult budget situation. We have to decide, with a deficit now, we have to decide what additional burdens we add to the debt. And we think this is one of those that we can afford to add, and over the years will really repay itself with the loans and the opportunities that we create. So I just believe that the target that you were given, Chair Senjum, is just way too low, and we need to work on coming up with a bonding bill that really fills the need, because there are so many needs on this list. I know you know that. You visited a lot of these projects. I did, the governor did, the committee did. And when you get out there and talk to these local folks and listen to them, you know how critical this is, and probably no more critical than now than ever before. So I just, I love working on the bonding bill. It's one of the best things of my job that I have. It's fun and it's interesting, and you get to see things really happen. So I just really urge the committee to take more time and to go back to the leadership and said, no, we need to put more money into that. So I'm sorry I went on so long. I'm sorry I made the error, Mr. Chair, but thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, Mr. Franz. Senator Senjum.
Well, maybe just a comment, and certainly not to be challenging, it is enormously. I can't imagine writing a $2.1 billion bill. That would be so incredibly easy. 998 is a tough bill if you're going to try to put some priorities in it. And our priorities, at least within the Senate this year, were transportation and wastewater infrastructure. You see that. That's apparent. So it's a matter of trying to weigh priorities and trying to take priorities on that we felt were the kind of priorities that would bring forth, if you will, job intensity. A lot of moving dirt, a lot of pouring concrete, a lot of setting up dry walls, and a lot of putting in utilities. And that's the kind of projects that we sought out in our bonding bill to include, and we have done that. And again, it's a much easier task to put a $2 billion bonding bill together, I'm sure. That's certainly the one we had to assemble, and it is what it is. And there's certainly, as I said earlier, over $500 billion worth of projects, rather $5 billion worth of projects, over 500 projects from which to look at. So the selection is not easy.
Thank you. Next, Senator Newman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to respond kind of quickly to Commissioner Franz regarding the earmark issue. Commissioner Franz is quite correct that the earmarks do tend to circumvent the selection process. I prefer to call them constituent requests. The administration would prefer to call them earmarks. But nevertheless, I would ask folks to remember that in 2017, we did make some changes to the project selection process. But in doing so, we only managed to hit about, I think it was 3 out of 13 or 14 different methods of selecting projects. Now, the language that you see in the bill is the same language that we had in 2017, and the whole idea behind modifying the selection process is to bring transparency to the process and allow for public input. And as you know, I believe right now the public does not have adequate input into the selection process, and that is why we continually see the requests coming forward for constituent requests. Now, there was discussion earlier in the year regarding the selection process. I agreed to take it out of the transportation bill. And in the transportation bill, what I had in mind was to discuss the balance of the project selection process that was not covered in the 2017 bill. And the commissioner is quite correct that there is an informal agreement with the department to further those discussions this summer and try to address this issue of constituent request versus selection process. However, there was an indication also early in the year that the department was willing to go along with including the 2017 language in the capital investment bill for capital investment projects, and that's why you see it in the bill. So I think that this is really a very, very important aspect of MnDOT projects that we simply have to address, because I do believe that there is a lack of transparency and a lack of public input into how projects are selected by MnDOT. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you,
Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair.
Mr. Franz, go ahead. Commissioner Franz, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I yielded the ground too quickly to Chair Singham. Actually, my criticism was correct. It was just too general. My criticism isn't that you didn't put $18 million in the government roads wetland replacement program, but we didn't put $8 million of general fund dollars into the program, because we need general fund dollars this summer in order to begin to purchase some of those wetland replacement programs. So that was my complaint, was about the general fund dollars. I appreciate the 18 million in the fund, but we need to start this summer on replacing those wetlands. Otherwise, local construction will be held up. So I apologize, it wasn't accurate in my criticism.
Thank you. Senator Pappas.
Mr. Chairman, my question was really, I sent you in the chat box as well. Did you want to take more testimony before I offer my amendment?
Let me see if we have any other testifiers, and then we'll go to the amendments. Senator Singham, that's the last testifier I have. Do you know of anyone else before we go into amendments?
Mr. Chair, I do not.
Okay. So actually, I have Senator Miller also on the list for that as well. So I'll go to Senator Miller, and then I'll go back to Senator Pappas. Senator Miller.
And someone is raising their hand.
Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair.
Sorry, Mr. Chair. This is Jessica Lumen. I had signed up to testify. I just didn't want to jump in when it wasn't appropriate.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, why don't you? I'll yield to Ms. Lumen.
All right, Ms. Lumen.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I just really appreciate the opportunity to jump on here today. My name is Jessica Lumen. I represent the Minnesota State Building and Construction Trades Council. Really want to thank you for giving me a brief opportunity to speak to the committee today. As you can imagine, this issue is incredibly important to us and to the 70,000 union construction workers that I represent. We really appreciate that the committee has put forth a proposal to invest in Minnesota infrastructure. And there's a lot of really good projects in this bill. And as Chair Singham says, these are projects with job intensity. But we do encourage the Senate to consider additional investments in many areas in order to stimulate Minnesota's economy and keep Minnesotans working. As you know, there are more than $5 billion, or as the senator says, 500 projects of unmet needs in Minnesota communities. Therefore, there's an opportunity to support local communities to address asset preservation, community development, safe water, schools, buildings, roads, bridges, and transit. A strong bonding bill will create tens of thousands of jobs in our state. And while the construction industry has continued to provide critical services during the COVID-19 pandemic, as you know, in order for people to have careers as construction workers, there need to be construction projects. The Minnesota construction industry has the capacity and is prepared to build Minnesota safely. The state has one very powerful tool to stimulate the economy, and that tool is bonding. The Minnesota State Building and Construction Trades encourages the Senate to use this tool to its fullest capacity so that Minnesota construction workers can continue to use their tools as well. Thank you again so much for the opportunity to speak briefly to the committee.
And I do have more testifiers. I'm sorry, I missed an email here. So our next testifier is Mark Stephenson, Mayor of Maple Grove.
Thank you, and thank you for letting me testify here today. I want to thank Senator Senjum for coming to Maple Grove with the Senate Capital Investment Committee to see the 610 completion project. I want to thank Susie Giroux and all the Senator Senjum staff, along with everyone else who came out to see this project. This is obviously an important project in the northwest suburbs that is important for not only 610 completion, but also the I-94 corridor and the freight transportation in our state. I want to thank Senator Limmer for his continued work on this project. I know my time is limited and your time is important today. So with that, I will wrap it up.
Thank you, Mr. Stephenson. Our next testifier is Tracy Bertram, Mayor of Becker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I wanted to thank Senator Senjum and the members for including the Becker Business Bill in the bill. Becker Business Park project is critical to Becker and Sherburne County as the Sherco plant is decommissioned and as we all transition away from a coal-based economy. The Becker Business Park project is shovel ready and we have the plans and specs in hand. This project is also a regional significance and it will have a statewide impact. So thank you for your consideration of us in your bill.
Thank you, Ms. Bertram. Our next testifier is Felix Schmeching. I think that is correct. Sherburne County Commissioner. You're muted. Commissioner, you're muted. Can you please unmute?
There, am I there now?
There you are. Thank you. Please state your name for the record. I'm sorry.
Commissioner Felix Schmeching, Sherburne County Board Chair.
Thank you. Go ahead with your testimony.
Thank you, Senator Senjum. I'd like to thank Senator Matthews and Senate staff for including Becker and Sherburne County in the bonding bill. Sherburne County Board agrees this project is important locally and regionally. The large-scale data center the project will accommodate will impact the entire state by creating 2,300 plus construction jobs and is estimated to bring 600 plus million in capital investment to Becker, Sherburne County, and the state of Minnesota. We want to thank the Senate for including Becker and Sherburne County in this bonding bill. Thank you.
Thank you. That's the last I have my testifiers list. I have a raised hand of Maggie Lorenz. Miss Lorenz.
Hi. Yeah, sorry. I did get an email that I would be on the list, but thank you. I just wanted to thank you for allowing me to be with you guys today. My name is Maggie Lorenz, and I'm here representing the Waukon Teepee Center project. It's Senate File 4328, author Senator Herr, Bigham, and Eichmann. And this project is also listed in the Urban American Indian Capital Projects, Senate File 4393, authored by Senator Hayden, Pappas, and Champion. So I wanted to thank those senators who are in this meeting for their authoring those bills. And I just wanted to take a little bit of time to talk a little bit more about Waukon Teepee Center project. This is a shovel-ready project that is ready to create dozens of temporary jobs here in St. Paul starting this summer. It's a 10-month construction project. Will create new jobs here on the east side of St. Paul and opportunity for immediate return on investment to the community. In addition, Waukon Teepee Center is also part of a larger Urban American Indian Capital Projects bill. And unfortunately, in this version of the Senate Capital Investment Bill, I do not see any of those Urban American Indian Capital Projects represented in this version of the bill. I think that's a huge oversight, and there are a lot of really, really good worthy projects that have been introduced, many of those which are shovel ready and ready to start stimulating the economy and helping people get back to work and also helping community members get back on their feet. So I just really wanted to take some time today to let you know a little bit more about these projects. And if anybody has any questions that, I'm here to answer those questions about Waukon Teepee and also about the Urban American Indian Capital Projects bill.
Thank you, Ms. Lorenzen. I apologize for the technology. I do have a list modification. Mr. Ned Carroll, City Councilman from Plymouth. Mr. Carroll. Mr.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I was pinch hitting for a mayor, and I think he's now available, but since you guys are available, I'll just go ahead. We're here to for the Plymouth Creek Center, which is a regional project, and we appreciate your time here. I also want to point out that we certainly appreciate Senator Senjum coming to visit and his staff for leadership. And let me point out that Senator Anderson, Paul Anderson, has done a great job, as has Ann Rest and Ron Latz. We will certainly miss Senator Anderson's leadership on this. This is a regional project. We're shovel ready, and it'll provide benefits for jobs and economic development. Thank you.
Thank you. The next I have Senator Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to take a moment to compliment Senator Senjum and the entire team on putting together what I would consider a pretty darn good bonding bill. We have a bonding bill in front of us that's $1 billion, $998 million in general obligation bonds. So we're talking about $1 billion bonding bill plus $400 million for trunk highway bonds. And I think most would agree that given the downturn in the economy as a result of this COVID-19 crisis, there's a lot of uncertainty right now. There was some talk about disappointment with no cash in this bonding bill. And unfortunately, the state of Minnesota is facing a pretty significant budget deficit. So I wouldn't mind having some cash in this bill, but the question is where's that cash going to come from, given the current economic situation that not only the state but that our country's in, and the budget situation that the state of Minnesota is facing. So I think we have a well-balanced bonding bill in front of us. You have money for transportation projects, so water treatment and infrastructure projects for communities to access clean water, economic development grants, asset preservation. There's HEAPR dollars for our colleges and universities throughout the state. Could it be bigger? Sure, it could be bigger. The question is, can the state of Minnesota afford a larger bonding bill at this point in time? And I guess that'll be the question of the legislature as we move through this process. But Senator Senjum, I just want to thank you and your team for putting together a really good, well-rounded, balanced bonding bill, and for the time and effort that the entire committee put in. There were some questions about committee hearings, but Senator Senjum, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there were 10 plus bonding trips all across the state of Minnesota. So the committee certainly put in their time and effort to put together this bill. So I want to thank you for that. While I still have the floor, Mr. Chair, I do have the A5 amendment that I'd like to offer.
Senator Miller offers the A5 amendment. Senator Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a technical amendment related to the Chatfield Center for the Arts project. This project has been around for several years now. It first received phase 1 funding back in 2014. So the project, of course, has evolved. And what this technical amendment will do is make sure that MMB can release the funds in an efficient manner to the city. And it's my understanding that MMB and all parties are supportive of this language. So I'd like to offer the A5 amendment, please.
Senator Miller offers the A5 amendment. Senator Senjum, any comments on the A5? Unmute.
Yeah, this is technical in nature. It doesn't add to the cost of the bill. It clarifies, provides clarifying language with respect to the release of the money, and I would accept this amendment.
Any other discussion on the amendment? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
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 Anybody opposed, raise your hand and say nay. Motion carries and the amendment is adopted. Thank you, Senator Miller. Next on my list is Senator Nelson. Unmute, Senator Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to also thank Senator Senjum. He got a bonding target here not too long ago. I think less than just a few days. And I know that he and the committee have been working for months and months looking at these projects, but then to put them all together and meet the target that we have. Senator Senjum, I think you did a wonderful job in touching what's important. Those things like protecting what we have, safety, infrastructure, the bridge funding. Those things are absolutely critical and have to do with safety and protecting our environment. And then also investing in those things that are going to help our economy bounce back through this COVID pandemic and beyond. And so, Senator Senjum, I know it's hard to get everything that everybody wants and fit within a budget target. That is not fun. It's hard to do. And I just want to thank you for all the dedication that you and your team put into this. And I want to thank you for doing really what is best for one Minnesota here, covering the entire state with those necessary things that are going to help our people be safe and also help our economy recover and to protect our environment. So for that, I just thank you and look forward to helping you get this bill across the finish line. Thank you, Senator Senjum.
Thank you, Senator Nelson. Next on the list is Senator Lane. Senator Lane.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I just want to say that I have a different definition of balanced than was mentioned a little while ago. That I see balanced meaning statewide, that it covers needs across the state, and that it isn't 50% on transportation, which is actually primarily supposed to be covered in our state a different way. We add to it in the bonding bill, but we don't make it 50% of the bonding bill. But speaking of the statewide focus, I would just say that I remember being in the House and it was the DFL that was fighting for the Chatfield Center. And now we're having it in the bill again to keep getting it going. But that is what I call statewide, nonpartisan, and this bill doesn't cover either of those, in my opinion.
Thank you, Senator Lane. Next on the list is Senator Uyghur.
Mr. Chair.
Senator Senjum, go ahead. You're muted. Senator Senjum, you're muted.
Just to note, I'm perfectly accepting of the criticism. I don't really need the thanks. You know, that's fine. I appreciate it, but I don't need those. But you know, if you got criticism, now it's the public hearing. Let's go.
All right, next I have Senator, let me see. I do not have anybody next. Anybody else discussing this item? Senator Champion.
Mr. Chair, can you clarify when you say this item, what are you referring to?
The bonding bill, Senator Champion.
Okay, all right. Oh, no, I just want to make sure, you know, I don't want to be presumptuous. Two things. One is, Senator Senjum, did you have an opportunity to take a glance through the bill, or did you want to give me that information later? Remember, I asked you about is the line item on 128 the only line item for the city of Minneapolis?
Senator Senjum.
Mr. Chair and members, I have not. I've been trying to be focused on this hearing and
okay.
Stay off
totally
the paperwork. Yeah.
No, okay. No, I totally understand that. And Senator Senjum, if we can do amendments, are we going to have time to do those amendments? Because I know that I'd like Ms. St. James to prepare 4 amendments for me.
So, Mr. Chair and members, it is the intent to take amendments, and so It will depend on how long we have. We have till 6 o'clock, so if they can get something together, why, that
So
would
if,
be appropriate.
so if Miss St. James is listening to the hearing, I'm trying to figure out how she'll have time to hear us and for us to communicate that to her in real time, just so that we're being clear on the process and being respectful.
Ms. James?
Miss
Mr. Chair and Senator Champion, we just got the request and we are working on it now. It will take a little bit, but we're working on it.
Okay, thank you so much. I just didn't want to overwhelm you. Thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Senator Senjum.
Mr. Chair, I could also note that, obviously, floor amendments are appropriate as well tomorrow.
Senator Newman.
Can I speak to that and ask Senator Senjum a question? It is my understanding, Senator Senjum, that probably floor amendments wouldn't work because they would have to be constrained to what's in the bonding bill right now once it reaches the floor, and it may throw it out of balance or something like that. Is that right? I just want to make sure that we're being respectful of your process.
Senator Senjum.
Mr. Chair and Senator Champion, I do have a 998 target, and then should you choose to try to expand that, I would have to suggest to the floor or even to the committee that we not accept that. So that's where we are at this point.
Okay, next I have Senator Newman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to just point out a couple of things with respect to the aspect of transportation in this bill. And Senator Lane is absolutely correct. It's heavy in transportation, but I think it's heavy in transportation for a pretty good reason. Keep in mind that, number one, given what happened to us with COVID, we have no money. There's no cash in this bonding bill, and normally there is. And so what Senator Senjum is trying to do is put together a bonding bill that addresses as many problems as he possibly can, but he doesn't have any cash. So we have to do it on borrowed money. We are looking at what I would consider a pretty fair sum of money. You know, your total trunk highway bonds and general obligation bonds, we're almost at $1.5 billion. And there is, of course, repercussions. The higher in terms of our borrowing we go, the more debt service that we're going to have to pay for. So I would just ask members to keep in mind that this is all borrowed money. It's legitimate in terms of when we have projects, and the projects in this bill are legitimate, but we do have to pay for them with debt service. Also, I'd ask you to keep in mind that it is projected by MnDOT that the highway user tax distribution fund that we normally would rely on very, very heavily, it's a user fee to pay for our roads and bridges and infrastructure when it comes to transportation. And it is now forecast that we will have a $400 million hit to that fund, less in terms of funds coming in. And that is going to severely jeopardize what we can do in terms of transportation projects in the future. So it's just something that I would ask you to keep in mind, that HUTDF is going to come down. This is an opportunity to replace some of that with projects that, I have begun to view transportation projects as similar to the WPA projects when we were coming out of the Depression. They are projects that are that they correct direct jobs, they correct indirect jobs, and probably is the fastest way to jumpstart our economy. I know, Mr. Chairman, you had some statistics on Highway 14. A year or so ago, we got that project approved. They are now starting on Highway 14 over in Claremont, the Dodge Center area. Can you give us the statistics as to the job creation that is just coming out of that short stretch of Highway 14?
Thank you, Senator Newman. Actually, I was going to jump in right after you and comment off that. As the chair, I don't want to do too much debate. I leave that up to the members, but I will comment on that because I did a meeting with the Owatonna Chamber. We went through those numbers, and as many of you know, it was about a 12-mile stretch of Highway 14, approximately 2.5 miles east of Owatonna. And since the announcement of that highway, directly from that announcement, we have over 1 million square feet of industry that has been added and is currently under construction at this time. And with calculations from the Owatonna Chamber, over 385 jobs. Now, this project is just gotten underway. They're just starting to move dirt, but all these projects were dependent on the Highway 14 and what that corridor and what that connection to Highway 14 did. So you are absolutely correct. It's phenomenal. And then in addition, I'd like to comment that during the COVID-19 issue that we've dealt with, as we well know, we've been told this isn't over yet. And these jobs are safe jobs. They're out in the environment. A lot of construction work, obviously they're stretched apart over a large period of land, a large portion of land. So they're safely spaced and can do very safe construction jobs. So it's been phenomenal for Highway 14. And that's just Owatonna. That's not any secondary thing that we've done. It was a fairly small meeting with Owatonna Chamber and a Zoom meeting. So that's, again, directly just to one town. And I know there's many others in Faribault and Waseca and Rochester and many more that are, once that connection is done or has been announced, those jobs will only increase and those new facilities will only be increased. So thank you for the comment. Next on my list is Senator Pappas. Senator Pappas.
I know these mute buttons are difficult. I just wanted to know if you're ready for my amendment.
I'm going to turn it one more time to Senator Senjum. He has his hand up, and then we will open it up for amendments.
Okay.
Senator Senjum.
Thank you, Senator Jasinski, Chair Jasinski. I just wanted to note, and this is a casual comment, if you will. I walk and run over near the St. Paul Kellogg Bridge quite often, and I feel like I've gotten to know that bridge. And when you look at that bridge from the standpoint of job intensity, and if you get under it, as we all have at some point in time, but I've just got to know it better. It's a massive structure. It's going to take massive efforts to take that out of there. And they're going to do that. The demolition of that bridge is going to be a big job. And those jobs and the ripple effect of those jobs are going to extend way beyond St. Paul. And then likewise, the reconstruction of that bridge is going to be a massive undertaking. And whether it's digging sand out of a concrete, making the cement to go into that concrete, taking care of the rebar, on and on and on, that is a massively intensive job proposal. And we do have it in the bonding bill, and it's a really appropriate project for this year in my mind. So. But my emphasis is to say simply that these transportation projects are job intense, and that's what we're looking for this year.
Okay, thank you. With that, I'm going to turn it back to Senator Pappas if you have an amendment you'd like to offer at this time.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to offer the A4 amendment.
Senator Pappas offers the A4 amendment. Senator Pappas.
And I'd like to ask the staff to send out the comparison spreadsheet, which compares my amendment with Senator Senjum's bill. I actually wish we could put it on the share screen because I don't quite know how people are managing to look at everything. I know I have 3 electronic devices here I'm working on. Senator Senjum, I appreciate your comments about the bridge, but I really want to talk about consistency. If we're really talking about shovel-ready projects that will put people to work as quickly as possible, then I really think we should be prioritizing asset preservation because those are the ones that are ready to go. You get those workers in to repair the roof, to put in the new windows, to whatever needs to be done, fix the plumbing. Those are really they're really shovel ready. My concern with the earmarks that you have in the transportation bill that Commissioner Franz mentioned is that we don't necessarily know if these projects are shovel ready or not. That's why MnDOT has their priority list. Plus, they sometimes coordinate projects, and we don't know if all of your earmark projects are going to be coordinated with other local projects, or as he mentioned, with the wetland road issue. So, I mean, that's why we have state agencies, so that they can be aware of all of those things. We can't be aware of all those things because we're not engineers and we're not working for those state agencies. That's why I really prefer a system where we have buckets, where we have priority lists. We've been in the Senate, we've always been pretty strict about following the Minnesota State and the University of Minnesota priority lists, because we know that they take the time to evaluate the projects, time that we don't have, and everyone waits their turn, and eventually you move up on the project list and you get your project funded. And if we're doing regular bonding bills every year, $1 billion, which is what we should be doing, then those projects aren't sitting there and waiting year after year after year. I got a spreadsheet that was sent to me by Bernie Oman, and I wish I could show it to everyone, about how poorly we've been funding. And I can send it afterwards, or I can't even have it on the floor, right? Well, I'll send it to everyone after the meeting. Really what a poor job we've been doing in keeping up with HEAPR, with the university. The new projects always look new and exciting, and I'm very excited about the child development building, but it's really the nuts and bolts of our higher ed institutions is the HEAPR. And Mr. Chairman, with those comments, I'm kind of hoping that that amendment and the spreadsheet has been sent out, but in the meantime, I want to just talk about in my amendment, which really mirrors the bill that was introduced last week by the Senate DFL, in which we fully fund the University of Minnesota request and the Minsky request. For our senators, I mentioned some of them on the floor, is, Winona State is really waiting for the building replacement design. They've been on the list for a while, and we're not doing any of those. Central Lakes College, St. Paul College, Inver Hills, Metropolitan, Pine Technical College, they're all kind of been waiting to get their projects funded. And even though we think that higher ed may change somewhat in the future, we're still going to need classrooms. We're still going to open up again. Maybe we won't for a while, maybe we won't. And this is a good time then to be doing our HEAPR projects and to be doing our repair projects. Most of these are not necessarily new, huge buildings. They're remodeling, they're replacing things, they're chemistry labs, they're things that are going to be really important in the future. I'm a big fan of libraries. I don't think I have that much money, $2 million for library construction grants, but I think it's important to do that. And $5 million for the Daisel Cokato, I apologize to Cokato Public School District, their regional activity center. The governor had that in his project, and I had it as well. The state academies, they've been waiting so long for their asset preservation money. And, senators, we tour these places year after year, and they ask for the same thing, and we come back to the Capitol and we don't fund them. I mean, it's embarrassing. Frankly, I don't even want to go on the bonding tours anymore until we've funded the projects that we've already visited. And we're just not doing that. We've been to the state academies many times. Nothing in your bill for Purbridge Center for Arts Education. That's a state facility. Again, we need to take responsibility for state facilities. Natural resources, the governor and I had 298 million, you have 85 million. I understand that you have limits on what you can fund, but I think you should have fought harder for a higher target and said, no, we can't do the job for what we need in the state unless we have a higher target. There's tons of projects here that the betterment of buildings, flood hazard mitigation is about the only one you funded, that and dam safety, but not the Billsby Dam, which is really an important dam to get funded. Again, asset preservation, the governor and I had 70 million, you have 19 million. That should have been a priority. Preserve what we have, take care of what we have. That's what we should be doing. Mr. Chairman, I could call out all these other projects, but I think that we can release the spreadsheet publicly so that the public can really see what a real bonding bill is. This is a very much area of disappointment. The Pollution Control Agency, $14 million compared to $120 million in the request that the governor funded. you know, why, I understand that wastewater treatment is important, but why aren't solid waste management and hazardous waste management, why isn't that equally important? Why isn't cleaning up Superfund sites? Why isn't that equally important? Because those sites get cleared up for development. And that's also shovel-ready projects. And we have these Superfund sites all over the state. Commissioner Franz talked about the problem with the wetland replacement. I was pleased to see about the health department lab, because we know that having our health department have all the facilities that they need up to date is going to be really important. Once again, on asset preservation, we're kind of underfunding administration. And I agree with the commissioner that we need these security upgrades. You know, look what's happening in Michigan, and we don't have enough security upgrades at our Capitol building. And we should also need to be looking at, what did he call it? I don't know if it's under this list or not, under administration, but I think it's farther down when we look at some of the other, our needs in terms of security. We're doing okay, a little bit better with military affairs. And as we mentioned, public safety, that's what I'm looking for. A new state emergency operations center. This is something that's really vital. And we've needed this, and we've known we've needed this, frankly, since 9/11, and we haven't funded it. And nowadays, we need to pay attention to public safety and security. That should be at the top of our list. And we didn't fund these other public safety, the facilities that are being requested in different communities. I'm going to skip over transportation because I don't agree with the earmarks for a variety of reasons, and we can talk more about those. I think it's not an efficient way to do it, and it's not. I don't agree that it's a transparent way to do it. I think I would prefer that we look at the transportation departments, the way they prioritize, and make that process more transparent, because our processes are not transparent. Given this bill today, who knew about any of these earmarks before 11:30 this morning? I don't want to skip over transit. The governor requested $55 million. I had $75 million in our bill. Bus rapid transit. It's a very cost-effective way to move people. And even though people aren't taking buses now, they're going to need to take buses, because there are lots of people who don't have cars that need to get around. And those roads are going to get congested again, and it's going to be just much more efficient to put people in buses, to put people in light rail, to have a more use of transit. And that's another way in which you're sliding the metro area. I agree with Senator Champion. Minneapolis has really been slighted in this bill, and he can talk more about how the Minneapolis needs are just not being taken care of in this bill. Again, more state agency responsibility in human services, asset preservation, and dealing with the Anoka Regional Treatment Center, nothing there. Corrections, another area in which asset preservation is not being taken care of. And we've toured those prisons, and we know that they're in terrible condition. And now, especially when you can't separate people because of that, you need to, because of COVID crisis, they don't have any means of doing that. The whole issue of equity, and I'm sure that others will talk about this as well, but when we look at equity projects, I think it means equity for diverse communities. It means geographic equity. It means that we're one Minnesota and everyone's represented. And we certainly have a lot of need that these nonprofit communities and the Native American community and the African American community and the Hmong community, Somali community are providing. And here was an opportunity where we could have given them some support, and your bill does not do that. Then I think we can skip over Public Facilities Authority. That's one of the highlights, although it's still $100 million below my bill and the governor's bill. I don't understand this issue with the Housing Finance Authority. We always do housing infrastructure bonds in the bonding bill. And to hold up those important bonds, not only do we need the 200 million, but we need the public housing money, and we should really be putting in money in here for emergency shelters. That's a need right now. I mean, homeless people with COVID or suspected COVID are being housed in hotels. That's not going to last. And in Minneapolis and throughout the state, they're in encampments. I mean, only because now it's summer and people can sleep out in tents, but that's going to change with fall. If we have a reoccurrence of COVID, even though we're not past the peak yet, but say we pass the peak in the summer and we flatten the curve, we could have a flare up in the fall and the winter, and then we'd be dealing with this problem again. I'm sure that they're, a little thing, but the Women's Suffrage Memorial, I was the author of the Women's Suffrage Memorial on the Capitol. And to give that small amount of money to South St. Paul, they were the first location in the country to vote after we passed the amendment that allowed women to vote. Were South St. Paul women, and that needs to be commemorated. Mr. Chairman, one more thing is I'm just kind of disappointed that, well, I won't even talk about it. I'm just disappointed in the whole bill. I mean, I understand what you're saying about the bridge and that you feel really strongly about transportation. I wish that we were doing a transportation bill to fund the transportation projects. I'm not going to repeat my comments I made earlier, but Mr. Chairman, that's my amendment. And we didn't have much time to clean up everything in it. It's not perfect, but we did the best that we could. And I'd like to thank the staff for doing a yeoman's job in preparing this amendment.
Okay. Senator Sanjum and then Senator Miller.
Mr. Chair, just so that I can clarify, I have an 8-page spreadsheet. Senator Pappas, is this the amendment? Are we voting on an amended spreadsheet, or do we have a language? Or I may not have the amendment. I just need to have that clarification. Oh, okay. Beth is bringing something here, so maybe this is it.
That's a readable spreadsheet.
Okay. So, Mr. Chair, I have now a 123, maybe more than that, page amendment. Is this the amendment that we're working off of now? This new bill? Is this it?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Unfortunately, under the circumstances we're working under and the fact that you released your bill so late, this is the best that we could do. It's very similar to the bill I introduced last week, and that's why I asked the staff to send out the comparison spreadsheet so that the members could see the differences between my amendment and your bill.
Okay.
Senator Sanjum.
So thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Senator Pappas. Obviously, I'm not that much of a speed reader, but I can sort of read the end here. And with my 998 target, I would have to recommend to the committee that we vote against it. I am aware of your bill, Senator Pappas. We certainly looked at it a day or two ago as you introduced it, and so I'm not necessarily dismissing it lightly because I am aware of your bill. And but I would suggest at least to the committee, I do have the target. This obviously exceeds it well beyond the 998, and so I would have to suggest to the committee that I would not recommend approval of it.
Senator Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senator Pappas, thank you for bringing up Winona and Winona State University. I'm glad to hear that you're as big of a champion of Winona State University as I am. And I think you mentioned it on the floor yesterday or the day before, and now in committee today. I do share Senator Pappas's concerns about HEAPR. I'd like to see the HEAPR dollars improved both at the University of Minnesota and Minnesota State colleges and universities. I would like to remind the committee and thank the committee for their support of the Winona State University's Education Village project, which we just celebrated the grand opening of in the fall of 2019. So just probably 8-10 months ago. That was a $33 million, 33+ million dollar project, and it's a fantastic building and doing great things for the students and the faculty and the staff in Winona and actually throughout the region. And I think that could actually be used as a model to transform the way we prepare future educators, not only in the state of Minnesota, but throughout the country. With that said, the Winona State University project that's in Senator Pappas's bill, and I am the chief author of it in the Senate, it's a relatively new project. I actually learned about it after the Education Village grand opening, and I will share to Senator Pappas and others that there is not quite yet consensus on that project. In fact, just is recent as this past week, I've heard from several constituents, actually even faculty at Winona State University, that they would be concerned during the current situation that we're in with enrollment numbers and the current economic situation due to the COVID-19 crisis, that the message that I got from some, not all, but some locally, is that now is not the time to be looking at building brand new buildings on our college campuses, at least at the Min-State campuses. I think the University of Minnesota Twin Cities might be in a little bit different situation. But that's what I'm hearing locally from constituents. So I'm not as concerned about some of those projects as Senator Pappas is. Other than the HEAPR, I do share that concern, and Senator Pappas, I'm with you there. If we can try to improve those numbers a little bit.
Okay, thanks, Senator. I got one question for Commissioner Franz. I know we had talked the last forecast amount for debt service was $755 million. Given the current situation with the COVID-19, what is your projection how that will alter that? Obviously, I believe it will be downward, but could you comment on what you believe that $755 million now, given what we know and what we've done, where that stands, please?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair. The $755 million is not a forecast. It is carried as an assumption based upon prior bonding experience. So what we do every forecast is we take a 10-year average of a bonding bill year and a 10-year average of a non-bonding bill year, and we figure out what is that 10-year average. And then we take that average, which this year was $755 million, and we put that in the forecast and pay for that through the forecast. In other words, all we're doing in the forecast is assuming that we would pass a bonding bill at least the size of the average 10-year size of a bonding bill, and cover that cost of that with the bonding bill. And we don't have to then add that to the cost of this particular bill. So this particular bill, for example, at $998 million, you only have to pay for the additional amount of debt service for the extra $240-some million in this bill, because the other $775 million has been applied to the other debt service. For the $755 million has already been paid for through the forecast. So it's just a mechanism to allow the forecast to cover part of what we think would be a bonding bill if it's the same thing as a 10-year average size of a bonding bill. That's all it is.
Great, thank you, Commissioner. I'm going to go back to Senator Senjum.
Thank you, Commissioner, and thank you, Mr. Chair. Commissioner, just as long as we're just tracking on that one, maybe for just a minute or so, as we add debt service to the profile, if you will, every year or every 2 years as we do a bonding bill, correspondingly, there has to be some debt that's leaving us from bills 20 years ago. Just generally speaking, how does that match up? Or maybe you can't even answer that, but I've always wondered that question, so it just seemed like an opportune time to answer or ask it.
No, it's a great question, Mr. Chair and Chair Senjum. So the way we try to manage that number is, so we take a look at every year how much debt do we have each year, and what percentage of that debt relates to the total personal income in the state of Minnesota, to get a measure of how much it's improving. Because as you said, every year we're paying off some of the bonds, and every year we're adding some new bonds to it. So what we try to do in order to track, and we track all the different categories. So we have a little over I think it's a little over $8 billion in total debt now. And that relates to the fact that every year we pay off certain bonds and every year we add new ones. Right now, we have three different debt guidelines. The first debt guideline says that we should maintain, our debt should be no more than 3.25% of the total personal income in the state of Minnesota. We're way below that. I don't have that number in front of me, but we're way below that because, for example, last year we didn't even do a bonding bill, which is one of the reasons why this one's so difficult. But so we try to add every year the additional debt service, subtract the debt service that's been retired, figure out what percentage of that is of the total state personal income, which is around $300 billion. And we now know that we're well below the 3.25% of that $300 billion. That was put in place in 2009. The next one and that's just for debt that's been authorized. The next one is just for debt that's actually been sold, because we also, as you know, we authorize debt and then we don't always sell it right away. So the next guideline says, well, we shouldn't have any more debt that's been sold that's more than, I think it's 2.5% of the total personal income in Minnesota. And we're well below that guideline too. In fact, since 2014, our total percent in terms of debt to our total personal income has been on the downward trend because we have not been bonding at a pace to keep up with our economic activity or with the total personal income in Minnesota. So what we're seeing is we're retiring more debt now than we're actually adding to the debt. So therefore our ratio or our percentage is slowly decreasing over the last 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
Did that help any?
No, that was helpful. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Okay, Senator Nelson. Muted, Senator
Thank
Nelson. Senator Nelson, you're muted.
All right. Thank
There you
you,
go.
Mr. Chair and Commissioner. Yes, I would like to ask Commissioner Franz a few more questions on the financing of this and the numbers. Is there also not a debt service or I thought we had 3 guidelines regarding debt service. You talked about the 2 that were related to a percent of average income in Minnesota. But I recall that we've also had a guideline that was a certain percent of the state budget. Now, do we not use that guideline anymore, or did I miss you saying that? What kind of refresh my memory on that, please?
Sure, Mr. Chair, Senator. We do not have a guideline like that. The third guideline, and I'm glad you're listening, the third guideline is based upon the percentage of debt that's retired in 15 years or retired in 30. I think it's 30 years. So we try to make sure that at least 70% of our debt is being retired over the course of over 30 years, and at least 30% of it is retired every I think it's 7 years. I forget the actual time frame. So we try to make sure is that we're paying debt off. We don't keep adding debt unless we're also taking debt off at the same time. So we have a percentage requirement that our debt be paid off in a certain time frame. That's the third guideline, and we're always in compliance with.
Yes. So thank you, Mr. Chair. If I could just follow up, please. Commissioner Franz, was there not at one point a guideline that looked at what percent of our general fund we should put out in debt service?
Mr. Chair, Senator, there may have been before 2009. I'm not aware of it, but I do remember people talking about it. The problem with that is it becomes difficult because of situations like we're in right now. So let's say, for example, that let's say that this whole situation, the COVID situation and the economic downturn didn't start until after the session was over. And we passed a $2 billion bonding bill. We put the added debt, which I think is like $89 million in the debt service with the cash for this biennium. And then after the fact, the downturn happens and we have a budget deficit. So we could be in statutory non-compliance with our budget perspective for things that happen outside of our control. And one of the things we don't want to do is we don't want to unnecessarily create a situation where our debts in violation of our debt, the debt amount or debt service is in violation of state statute, because the budget deficit and the budget surplus can work counter-cyclical to what we're doing with respect to the bonding bill. So that was one of the reasons I think they gave it up many years ago, but we do not have that right now. It's about, the debt service is about 3% of the general fund budget at this time.
Thank you. And then, Mr. Chair, just one more question for Commissioner Franz. I believe the Senator Pappas bill is about 2.8 billion in total spend. And then what is the cost to the state or to the taxpayers over the, I think 750 million is what was in the projection that we would spend. So we're spending almost, $2 billion over that. And what would the cost of that be to our state budget? I'd like to know what's the fiscal note on that, or the cost on that. And then because I'm using up so much of my time, then the last question, Commissioner Franz, just has to do with our new guidelines and the fact that our personal incomes are going to have, I'm afraid, have dropped rather than increasing. And our guidelines currently have a percent of average personal income. And of course, we've seen our state revenues fall by $4 billion in just since the February of last year forecast till May 1. So I'm concerned about that. And I'm also concerned about what a bonding bill like what Senator Pappas presented here, what that would do to our state budget and what the cost would be for our taxpayers. I'm wondering if you could give a number on that.
Mr. Chair, so yes, I can. First of all, before I do that, I do want to mention that the 3% of our general fund, budget that relates to the debt service is really on the low end. We're in the lower half of the states in terms of how we compare to other states for debt service on an annual basis, and on total overall debt, we're right in the middle of the pack. So when you compare us to other states, we're really moderate to low debt in that regard. Now, if you look at the general obligation part of this bonding bill and the governor's bonding bill and the DFL Senate bonding bill, so the total amount of additional general obligation debt that would be added is 19 million, a little over 19 million for the governor's bill, almost identical in the House side. I guess I don't have the bill that Senator Pappas introduced, and it's about 3.7 million for the bill that Senator Senjum is proposing today, is my understanding. Now, if you look at 22-23, that's just what I gave you is just for this biennium. For 22-23, the additional debt for the governor's bonding bill would be $159 million, and for this Senator Senjum's bill, it would be a little over $30 million. But that's just the general obligation portion. If you look at the trunk highway debt service under the governor's bill, the trunk highway would add, in his bill, would add a little over $2 million to the trunk highway debt service. And this bill would add 4.6 million. Obviously, the difference in the trunk highway funding in this bill and the governor's bill. Over the 22-23, the governor's bill would add $22 million to the debt service for the trunk highway bond. And this bill would add a little over $51 million to the debt service. So those are how you compare those two issues.
Commissioner Franz, I'm looking for the cost. I'm looking for the cost to pay for this additional debt service.
That is the cost above what was assumed in the forecast. Those numbers I gave you are the additional cost to the general fund.
Oh, thank you.
Or the trunk highway fund. I'm sorry, yeah. Above and beyond what was assumed in the forecast.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That was my concern.
All right, so we're probably expecting more amendments. We got to get through this. So we're going to Senator Tomassoni, and then we're going to go to Senjum before we take the vote on the A4. Senator Tomassoni.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll be brief. As one of the members that traveled all across the state from corner to corner and saw, I don't think we saw $5.5 billion worth of projects, but we saw a lot of projects. And it's hard to be on those trips and not say that every project we're seeing merits funding. And when I understand, Senator Senjum, that you've only had about 900 and some billion dollar target, and that's really, really hard to fund all these projects, especially when you had 5.5 billion in requests. But I just think that when I hear Senator Miller talk about HEAPR, and we think about all the different projects on campuses, and we think about COVID-19 going around and all the need for putting people to work, that this is just an ideal time for us to do a little bit bigger bill than the one we're looking at right now. And I would hope that somewhere along the way here, we can come to a conclusion that we get a bigger bill on the table. And I also want to point out that I'm proud of you, Senator Senjum, for funding a couple of hockey rinks in your bill, because I think there should be a couple more hockey rinks in your bill. And well, that's not the biggest key to these things. These small towns that are being forced to change over their Freon as a result of federal law need help, and we should be part of the solution. But having said that, I'm going to support Senator Pappas's amendment, because I think that somewhere in between Senator Pappas's bill and Senator Senjum's bill, we probably got a really good bonding bill, and we can put this together in the next couple of days. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Senator Senjum, final comments before we vote on the A4.
No, Mr. Chair, my recommendation is that we vote no. I've got a 998 target. We're just not going to be able to go forward with any more than that. I'll just leave it at that. We could talk about the debt service, but I'll just leave it at that.
Okay. With that, we'll take a vote. All those in favor of
No. I asked for a roll call.
Okay. Senator Pappas requested a roll call. That was the first I've heard of that. I'm sorry, I must have missed that.
No, I asked you earlier, and I text you too in the chat box.
Okay, roll call requested, roll call granted. The staff will take the roll.
All right, I'm going to ask all our members to share their mics on, and I'm going to call your name and just tell me yes or no. Senator Senjum.
No.
Senator Newman. Senator Newman.
No.
Got it. Senator Pappas.
Yes.
Senator Champion.
Yes.
Senator Dames.
No.
Senator Eichhorn.
No.
Senator Eakin.
Yes.
Senator Herr.
Yes.
Senator Engelbretson.
No.
Senator Jasinski.
No.
Senator Lane.
Yes.
Senator Miller.
No.
Senator Nelson.
No.
Senator Osmic.
No.
Senator Ralph.
No.
Senator Sparks.
Yes.
Senator Thomasoni.
Yes.
And Senator Wigger.
Yes.
And if staff could text me the results for the final tally, please.
Yes. It's on its.
Got it. With the vote being 8 yes and 10 no, the amendment does not pass. Further discussion. Senator Champion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Senator Senjum. I have a couple things that I'd like to say. First of all, I know I have tried to go through the bill, and I see that the only thing for the city of Minneapolis is the $6 million for the storm water tunnel. And it's my understanding that the ask was really for $19 million. So even there, unfortunately, we didn't get some of the things that we were looking for. In the interest of time, I thought I would talk about the projects briefly that are not present in this bill. And at the end, I hope Senator Sidgem, short of me putting forth my amendment, because I thought about putting forth all these separate amendments and time is of the essence, that I'll just ask if I can get a commitment from you that we'll continue to work on this should additional opportunities open up and that we can move some things around. One is I agree with the governor and Senator Pappas around equity. I really do think that we need to fully defined and for equity to be reflective in our conduct and actions. I'm excited for Senator Tomassoni because I often talk to him sometime about, hockey, and I'm happy that there are hockey rinks in this bill and that there are folks in these small towns that need it, and especially with the changeover. I also want to be happy that the city of Minneapolis and other youth in North Minneapolis and South Minneapolis and St. Paul and Frogtown and some of the other suburbs also have an opportunity for there to be real-time investments in those areas so that we all can smile and appreciate the state's investment. So equity is important to me, as is affordable housing. I know that we've talked a little about that and that there have been a number of requests and even Senator Sinjem's bill that was put forth, and I understand others are talking about that, but that is a real big issue. Affordable housing is key. So other things that I think are important. Baldwin Square, that's a project in North Minneapolis as well. North Commons Park, that ties up and lines up with when I said that those hockey rinks are where there's been this investment, and not just one or two, but it sounds like a number of them. But North Commons Park is a well-known park here in North Minneapolis, where the governor also has it in his bill for roughly $11 million. There's also 26th Avenue that the Minneapolis Park and Recreation Board has identified as an artery that connects North Minneapolis and other folks coming from Golden Valley to the Mississippi River. The Firefighters Healing Center, which is something that is really important for, even though we say firefighters, it's really important for first responders and others and their families if they've been burned or they're facing, health crisis and they're coming here to the Twin Cities. There's a space for them at no cost to them to be able to bring their families and be connected to the hospital and go to and fro in order to make sure that we are respecting them for all the sacrifices that they make on behalf of all of us. So the Firefighters Healing Center and transit. Transit is something that is key. And last but certainly not least, safe routes to school. I saw that there is some money there, but there should be more of an investment for safe routes to school. So as I think about all these things, and I also missed the Upper Harbor Terminal, and we did hear that, and there is, always, interest on both sides of that ledger. But I think if we put the right language in the bill, so that the city of Minneapolis and others would know that there need to be a community benefits agreement so that there's buy-in, it would be a splendid and a super investment here in North Minneapolis, especially if it's done right, to think in terms of anti-displacement policies and other things. So with all that being said, I just wanted to highlight these important investments, as I believe the others are important. I'm not suggesting that they're not important, but I really do think that we have to sharpen our pencil. I think that we have to think broadly, and I think we have to be committed to this notion of making sure that there's fairness and equity and at least some investments across the state of Minnesota. So with that being said, Senator Sinjem, I just want to know if there can be a continued commitment that we'll continue to work on these things or to sharpen that pencil, and if we got to move some things around, that you at least would have the interest to discuss those things and make every sincere effort to make it happen.
Senator Sinjem.
Senator Champion, as with your projects and all of others, this is, you have to understand it. I know that you do. This is the beginning of the bonding process, albeit here we are Saturday evening nearly with hours left to go, but it's the beginning of the bonding process. The bill, of course, needs to originate in the House. So there's lots and lots of work ahead of us with respect to this bill or a new bill if we have to fabricate one in special session. And as we do that, we're going to get different ideas from the houses. They're going to have to match up, and we'll see where that goes. But certainly, to your point, with respect to your projects, I've taken notes, and they'll certainly be duly considered. And we have talked anyway, Senator Champion. I know how important some of these are for you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Senator Sinjum, and thank you for the committee for giving me some time to talk about it.
Other members, questions? Senator Herr. You need to unmute, Senator Herr. Can you unmute, please? Thank you.
Mr. Chair and Senator Sanjum, I'd like you to really give a serious thought in terms of equity, as Senator Bobby Joe Champion just mentioned, and also heritage preservation. So a bonding bill that come out this year, you could be proud of that you are inclusive as much as possible. And I remember when you visit the Eastside St. Paul Eastside Freedom Library, for instance, you really enjoy the needlework of a Karen woman, and so during this COVID-19 crisis, I mean, even though the building might turn some of you off, but the service that people provide, and I'm not saying advocate for the project now, but I'm just talking in general in terms of equity, the sewing and all that during this COVID-19, we have the SOAR actually present us, nurses and doctors with the skill with COVID-19 masks, and so, things like that come into play. So I hope that you'll consider, cultural preservation, as well, like, what Ms. Maggie Lawrence just talked about, Wampum TP Center, and also in Minneapolis, there's the Indian Center as well. So I really want to second Senator Bobby Joe Champion on that in terms of equity and cultural preservation and heritage. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator.
Any other comments? Otherwise, I'll turn to closing comments for the Senator Senjum. Senator Uyghur.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to compliment Senator Senjum and his staff for being so civil and reaching out not only to my own district, but they have gone throughout Minnesota. You have been gracious in talking to people in my area. It's been sincere. And clearly, I feel there's areas to improve in education, higher ed, in equity, the items, but it's the start of the process. And I have confidence that we will reach that sweet spot before midnight tomorrow. But you, Susie, Beth, Casey, Miss James, Craig Johnson, everybody that's been involved, I've seen a lot of bipartisan effort in getting along here, and I do appreciate that, especially on the tours. So thank you for those efforts, and let's keep moving ahead.
Thank you, Senator Uyghur. And actually, I'd like to do the same thing before I turn to Senator Senjum. Being on the capital investment now for 3 years, it is truly the highlight of the committees I serve on. And as Senator Uyghur said, as well as many others, it gives us great time together to spend time bipartisanly, developing relationships, seeing each other's districts. And I think it's truly valuable to have that relation in the buses and in the projects and out afterwards. Just want to apologize for Senator Tomassoni for having to miss one of the stops on the Northeast tour, somewhere between Vermilion College and Two Harbors. Apologize, you missed one of those stops. You got detained for some reason. I don't know if you wanted to comment about that at all, but it was just a great tour. Senator Senjum.
You're forgiven. You're forgiven. And I want to thank Susie and the staff too. You guys did a great job on the trips.
Senator Senjum, closing comment.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There was a certain guy that fell in the lake as well. And so that was one of those highlights. But as we, maybe just conclude a little bit here. Thank you for all of you that have served on this committee. And as noted, as we travel around the state on our bonding tours, we not only study bonding, if you will, but we study bonding within and of ourselves. And that's the beauty of this magnificent organization we belong to, the Minnesota Senate. We get to know each other. I suspect most people truly don't probably understand how we can get along pretty well together on that bus and otherwise as we try to do our work. It's a fabulous experience that we're involved in here. And we're involved now in trying to decide on projects that are important to the state of Minnesota. And that's difficult when you have, again, 500 some projects and you have limited funds from which to draw from to fund those projects. So it's the reality that we have, but we work within it and try to do the best we can. Again, this particular bill this year was trying to put together around the whole subject of strong infrastructure. And I'll go back to this term, job intensity. Where can we get the most job intensity for the dollar? And again, a lot of construction, a lot of moving dirt, pouring concrete, so on and so forth. That's the emphasis of this particular bill. It certainly, yes, is not everything I'd like it to be in certain areas, and asset management and so on, but we're trying to put people together in an intense sort of way with intensive projects. And so that's the bill we have in front of us today. I think it's a good bill in that respect, and a good bill for the times, if you will. There'll be other years when we can do other things, but for the here and now, I think this bill probably fits pretty well the needs of the state of Minnesota from the standpoint of getting money into communities across Minnesota, doing good projects, making that money, if you will, spin and work and multiply itself. And as we do, hopefully our state will come back economically, or at least we'll do a small part of that. And that's our objective with respect to this bill. So thank you, Mr. Chairman and members. Those are my comments, and I would appreciate your support for Senate File 3463. I would recommend that it be approved and referred to the general orders.
Senator Senjum, I believe we have to have one thing addition into that motion, that staff be approved to make any technical changes that may be needed.
That would be included in my motion, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Thank you, Senator Senjum.
And Senator Jasinski, the bill has 3463 as amended.
Senator Senjum restates his motion that Senate File 3463 as amended be passed and recommended to general orders, and that staff may be allowed to make any necessary technical corrections. With that, the staff will take the roll.
Mr. Chair, is this a roll call? Did someone ask for a roll call vote? I don't recall anyone asking for a roll call vote.
No one asked for a roll call.
Okay, I'm sorry. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Senator Senjum.
Thank you, members.
This meeting is adjourned.
Okay.